Speaking of, do we get into the tea of LA?
Yeah, let's get some tea.
Yeah. So what are some things you wish you would have known, I guess, in the beginning that you wish maybe someone told you about LA?
I would say I wish someone would have told me that in LA, there's a entire different definition to hustle. Like if you're going to live in LA, you cannot have a day job. You have to have a day job, a side hustle, stocks.
All right. We are live.
First episode.
First episode. Would you like to do the honors of introducing Porsche?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Porsche Diane, and this is Jen. Well, you can introduce yourself, Jen.
Oh, that's right. I'm Jen or Jenny. I guess I should have put Jenny. I'll change.
Yeah.
My name is Jenny, or AKA DJ Housecat, and this is our podcast, the Queendustry.
Woohoo!
Pew, 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 pew. Where we talk about all things women empowerment, lifestyle. We had a tagline. I can't remember. This is the first episode. Do you remember? Oh, how to be a boss ass bitch. We teach you how to be a boss ass bitch.
How to do all of those things with confidence, integrity, and, just doing you and being the best at it and having all the confidence in the world and maintaining all of your integrity and sharing what you know, because LA is not an easy place. It really isn't.
That's right. Yeah. So we got to spread the love. We got to share the love because it's about love, not competition.
Yes.
When we win, everybody wins. So speaking of LA, today, our first episode, we're going to be talking about how we moved to LA because both of us are not originally from LA. So we're going to be each sharing our story, and then we'll give a few tips about things to keep in mind if you're planning to move to LA.
A lot of people still want to move here.
Yeah. People left during the pandemic and now they're coming back. So, Porsche, what brought you to LA?
So, well, let's see. What brought me to LA? I'm originally from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, East Flatbush. That's where I'm from. Born and raised. I left New York for college. I attended an HBCU, Florida Memorial University. I graduated from there with a bachelor's in marketing. And then I decided to continue my education, and I enrolled in Full Sail University, which is like the university for everything entertainment, whether you want to be a business person in the entertainment industry, whether you want to be a recording artist, an engineer, movie director, you name it, like that is the school to attend. So after I finished that, my master's, I said, you know what? I did that while I was in New York. And I was working in the music industry at the time. I was working at Atlantic, and then I moved on and worked with another manager. And then, so I said, you know what, when that was over, I said, you know what, I think it's time for me to move to LA. And I just wanted to see, what was in the stars for me over there. It was a change of scenery. I wanted to be on my own in a different state, away from family and friends, and just see what I can build on my own. And that was 4.5, almost 5 years ago. And, I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. And Jen, you were one of the first persons that I met.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. Serendipity. I didn't know you went to Full Sail. That's awesome. I didn't realize. What did you study at Full Sail?
I studied entertainment business.
Nice.
So, I was working at a record label, and I was dealing with a lot of artists and on the management side. So it made sense for me at the time to continue my education since I was already working in that field.
Yeah.
And
that's dope. I didn't know that. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you did, because that's how we met.
Yes.
Let's see. I'll give a quick background and then we can maybe go more into detail. Should we do that?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. So I first came to LA for college. I'm from the Bay Area, so it wasn't that far of a jump for me. California girl, but I went to UCLA because I wanted to originally be a dancer. And so I thought like, oh, if I go to school in LA, I can kind of go take classes like on my downtime. And that was the plan. So I would take the bus. I didn't have a car at the time. I'd take the bus and it was pre-Uber. So yeah, it's been almost over 10 years actually, because I started school. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not hiding my age. I started in 2007, so it's been over 10 years. I would take the bus from UCLA to Hollywood. And you have to look it up online. I didn't have smartphones back then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, eventually that kind of evolved. I always liked music and I always wanted to be a singer, but I think that because I had danced through high school, that was just the path I was on. But eventually it sort of evolved into music. So I started doing more music. And then I left LA for a little bit to go to school in Boston at Berkeley to study music. I didn't finish.
Yes,
I know. Our graduation rate there, I hate to add to the statistics because our graduation rate there was so low. It's getting better every year, but it's like 50%. But people leave a lot. But to be fair, I did get my first bachelor's, not in music, but I got a bachelor's because I know like, especially with the parents, they really want you to like get something. So I got bachelor's in Chinese at UCLA. And a French minor. But so I did complete some kind of degree. But when I went back to school, I ended up moving to New York, to Brooklyn, actually. But I was in Bushwick. I went there, I worked a little bit in studios out there, and just felt called to come back here. I think I always felt like my roots were here. And like the outward reason was I had a friend who we did like a singing competition with, and he was talking about moving here and he was like, oh, why don't we split a place and then we can do some shows and try to build that way. Mm-hmm. So I just hopped on the opportunity because I was like, oh, I can have a roommate. It'll be cheaper. But really, I was looking for an excuse to come back. So I hopped back. Yeah. And then I guess and I came back. Okay. So my journey with LA is like in and out because that was 2014. And then I left again in 2017 to go to Taiwan. And I was like, that had been a childhood dream of mine to just move there. And I thought I was going to stay there for a long time. But I came back in 2018. I was in a long distance relationship. I think that definitely added to the desire to come back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Why not? You know, a whole boo in LA?
Yeah, in LA. But I always miss LA. So I don't think he was the only reason. But for sure, that was a big influence, which at the time I didn't want to admit. But I'm sure if I wasn't dating him, I would have come back eventually, but maybe not as quickly. Right. But yeah, so after 7 months, I came back and I've been here since. So we met was it 2015 or 16 or?
Probably 2016.
Yeah. So
I wasn't here in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was early on in your LA journey. Yeah. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be one of your first friends you met here.
And one of my friends that is still around.
Yeah, that part. Speaking of, do we get into the tea of LA?
Yeah, let's get into tea.
Yeah. So what are some things you wish you would have known, I guess, in the beginning that you wish maybe someone told you about LA?
I would say I wish someone would have told me that in LA, there's a entire different definition to hustle. Like if you're going to live in LA, you cannot have a day job. You have to have a day job, a side hustle, stocks.
Stocks. Yeah, that part. That's all. That's new to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, crypto, before it even came out. You hear something coming out, jump on it. So I wish someone would have instilled that in me because, I grew up, watching my mother work a 9 to 5 and be successful, just solely doing that but times are different. We're living in a gig economy now. So, a traditional 9 to 5 is not stable anymore.
Yeah.
It can be stable, but, it's not. So you really, navigating life now, I wish somebody really would have said, hey, yeah, you're working at this 9 to 5 now, but in the event it doesn't work out, you're going to have to pull up your bootstraps and do something you probably don't want to do just to make sure and to make ends meet, because the cost of living here is so expensive. I feel like it's more expensive than living in New York. Almost.
Yeah, that's crazy. It didn't used to be, right? I feel like New York for a while, it was like LA felt so cheap moving back here from New York, but it's getting up there now too.
Yeah.
Speaking of jobs that we wish that we would rather not do, what's like the craziest job you've done, I guess, in one of those like hard times? Or it doesn't have, you don't have to say, like, I don't know. What's the one you would like to share?
The craziest job that I've done? Well, I've worked in the corporate field for the majority of the time that I've been here. I've been lucky. I've worked in the legal field, and I've also taken jobs like I worked at Coachella.
Oh, nice.
I worked at Coachella. I was in the front, like handling all of the tickets. When everyone was like scamming with the wristbands and stuff. Like, I'd be there like, yo, you can't come back in because your son that gave you this wristband sold it to somebody else for $500 and didn't know that she wasn't going to be able to get back in.
Oh shit!
Like, that was drama.
Scamming on your own mom.
Yeah, that did happen. That's uncomfortable, but whatever. Drama. That was like one of my jobs. Working on set, I did that. Stand-in work. I did that earlier on. I haven't done that lately. So I'll consider it these days.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about that before, because I recently got into it, right? And it's not always comfortable, because you do feel like you're just waiting. I like it sometimes because I think of it as a means to, like, it's a stepping stone. Like, I don't feel like I'm trapped forever, but I do meet some people on those jobs who have been doing it for like 10, 20 years. And I think they, over time, just forget what their goals were and they just get stuck doing it. And that's tricky. You gotta stay focused.
You have to stay focused. You have to know what you want, and you have to be in alignment, because otherwise you'll just be existing. Just
drift along. Yeah.
Drifting.
Whatever comes your way.
You take it, you're floating, and that is not a place to be, because you're not going to get anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
So be intentional.
Yeah. That's something I think, if we're talking about things before coming to LA, or just honestly, this is going to apply to any city, like moving to New York or moving even to Taiwan. Some things I wish I had done before going, like before you make a big move to pursue your dream, I think having intention really matters, and not just like a big fluffy dream. You need that, right? You need that as your North Star, but then you need to kind of have like actionable steps too. That's something I wish I got a hold of earlier on. In my 20s, I really didn't, was not very focused.
It's not easy. And even now that I know better, when you know better, you do better. And sometimes I'm like, this is what I want, but am I doing the right thing when I wake up every morning?
Yeah. What, do you have a morning routine?
I do have a morning routine. I wake up, I give gratitude. I hit the gym very early in the morning. And then, I do my day job. And then when I get back home, I'm working on my business. So that has
really
been
a healthy, disciplined routine.
Yeah. But I have fun.
You gotta have a little time for
yeah, here and there.
Balance. Yeah.
Yes, it's about balance, and it's about timing. And it's like, because you want everything to happen so quickly.
Yeah.
Not quickly. I wouldn't say quickly, but you want to see it progress in a timely manner. So being patient with that.
Yeah, that's good. I think I always have a routine that I an ideal routine, but I still feel like I struggle with keeping consistency with that. But one thing I always do, the gratitude journal, I moved that to the evening because I just know in myself, sometimes the mornings, I don't. And I do another journal. There's this thing called The Artist's Way. Have you heard of it? This is author named Julia Cameron, but it was like a book, and it's kind of just like, it's just like any of these other kind of, there's so many of them, like these like self-help personal development books, but it's sort of a plan she has, and you do like, it's like a 12-week sort of like kind of refining yourself sort of thing. But the crux of it is that you write 3 pages every morning. So she calls them the artist pages. So I had a vocal teacher. Yeah, it's really good practice. I had it almost 10 years ago now, maybe 9 years ago, a vocal teacher that recommended it to me. And so I started doing it. I wasn't consistent for like the last all 9 years, but the last probably like 3 or 4 years, I've been doing it every morning. So it's just like a stream of consciousness. You write whatever.
That sounds great. Yeah. I might try that.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. And then the cool thing is like you have this record of like all your life, because you could be like, what was I thinking that year? And then you go back and you can see like your thoughts. Right. Sometimes my writing is like really like, I have a lot of things to do today. It's not always interesting. Yeah. But it's kind of cool to see that record. But yeah, one thing I've been wanting to put more of into my schedule is meditation. But like ideally I want to meditate first thing in the morning, because they always say that's how like it will help you open up. But I find if I'm not fully awake yet and I try to meditate, I fall back asleep. Yeah. So I can't quite do it that early.
Yeah. It's a setup, especially if you do it in your bed. You're like,
yeah,
hey,
in your bed.
I'm gonna meditate and close my eyes.
Calm. Out of body experience.
I tried to get my meditation in the mornings. Like just recently, I started attending hot 8 yoga.
Oh,
in the morning.
Is that like the hot yoga where they heat?
Yeah, it's a hot yoga.
I've been wanting to do that.
You should do it. Come with me. Come with.
Yeah.
But it's I like it because it's mind, body, and spirit. So you get your workout, and then for about like 5 minutes at the end, there's like a calm. So it's literally, you take in everything, and it's like your reset for the day. You set your intention today. Yeah. So that's how I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I gotta go with you sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk. I guess let's. Did you have something else you were about to say? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. Is there anything that you wish someone would have told you?
Yeah. I think that, I guess you said it already, the intention thing. I think that was the main thing I realized. Well, also, okay, so if you're a freelancer or you're like self-employed, I wish I had a better strategy for how to keep myself disciplined, because the first year or two, I was like, oh, I'm self-employed. But instead I would just like, it's the same thing what we were talking about. If you don't have a plan, like you end up drifting. So someone would call me up and be like, hey, let's get lunch. So I would look at my schedule and be like, oh, well, I'm free. So sure. And then someone else would be like, hey, can you drive me to the airport? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm free. Okay. Yeah. So like little by little, the calendar fills up, and none of it was stuff I planned. So eventually I learned to block off time, but it took a little bit of trial and error. When I first tried it, I think you can't do it arbitrarily, because when I realized I had that problem, I would just block off like all day. I would put like wake up 9 to 10 vocal practice, 10 to 11 piano, and then whatever production. But I didn't end up doing it because it was so rigid, and I was going from like not doing that at all to like expecting myself to do it. So I think what I wish someone would have told me is to know what you want and know how to get there, but also be real. I don't want to use this word because I don't like the word be realistic, but be realistic in setting, break it down, I guess.
Right.
Like eventually you get to the part where you have the rigid, like now I'm much more structured, but I couldn't go from 0 to 100. I needed to like teach myself slowly. Yeah. give yourself training wheels. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a book called Atomic Habits. I forgot the writer, but I'll look it up. I can put it in the description, but it's all about how you build habits out of little things. Like if you want to go to the gym, but we always say like, okay, New Year's resolution, I'm going to go every day. But if you go from like never going, you're setting yourself up for failure.
You are.
Yeah. So the key is like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, this is really extreme, but this is what he teaches. Like, I'm just gonna lace up my shoes. And then if I do that every day, then that counts. And then, or this is one of the examples that someone actually did this. I'm going to go into the gym, just going to walk in, check in. And I only need to be there for 2 minutes and then I'll have reached my goal. And it's like really easy to do that. So
and nobody can tell me nothing. I went to the gym.
Yeah. So you start there. You start with like astronomically small. Astronomic's not the right word, but like really tiny goals.
That's
and
very
most
true.
of the time, most of the time when you're there, once you're in the gym, you're not really going to want to, you're like, I'm already here. I might as well, maybe I'll run a little bit. Maybe he doesn't do a full workout, but now he got a little closer and then it's like, well, I'm already running. I might as well do some crunches. So it builds much faster than if you, So that's kind of how I finally was able to discipline myself, was like not holding myself to an impossible standard, but first like breaking it down really small. Yeah. Right. So I wish I learned that earlier, but it's all good. I know.
Now you know. Okay.
But other tips, I guess, for LA, like LA specific things. I think this is something that people joke about a lot, but it's worth mentioning if you're thinking about coming to LA, like parking and because I there used to be all these memes online about it, but I think it's still relevant because I had a friend who moved recently and he was confused about the parking. So like that is something to keep in mind. Like you don't get towed. Don't get tickets,
Don't get tickets. Because tickets it can be the fastest route into debt that you cannot get out of. And because you have to pay those parking tickets. And then if you don't, there's no way around it. If you don't, by next year, the following year, when you try to register for tags, forget about it.
Oh, yeah, because it compounds, huh?
It compounds, like the penalty and interest. I don't do it.
It's a scam, too. It's just their way.
It is a scam. It is a scam.
Yeah. I've gotten, they're so petty. I got a ticket for blocking a little bit of my own driveway, but... but you're not allowed to block the driveway. So you have to, so you can't park. You can block it if you're in it. Like you can double park in your driveway, but you can't be on the curb with the tail poking out.
Not even an inch.
Yeah. It's so petty.
Yeah. It's so petty.
Other one, and red zones. I got a ticket when I was like loading some DJ equipment, like after DJing at a bar on Hollywood Boulevard, because there's not really any parking spots there. And it was heavy, Now I've since learned to just carry it because I don't want to get tickets. But at the time I was like, let me just pull up real quick and run in. It was all set up. It was all packed up. I just needed to grab it and go. Less than 30 seconds. I didn't even stop my car. I put the hazard lights on thinking like, it's fine. Well, and I got a ticket that I didn't even see because the guy, it was so quick. He just wrote it and then mailed it to me.
Those guys, they're on bikes. Like literally, like they're on bikes, like riding their bikes, giving tickets out. And sometimes you don't even see them. You just get the ticket in the mail. And that's why those tickets are so bad. And then you have the traffic light tickets.
With the cameras.
With the cameras. And those are worse because you actually will have to go to court.
You gotta go, traffic.
And the fees are astronomical. Yeah, there could have been no one in the intersection and you made like a rolling stop and there was no one in the intersection. You're going to get a ticket for like $600. And then once you get to court, the ticket is actually like $1,300, but it's okay. Cause we know it's so expensive. You're going to get it for $600. You just have to plead guilty. Like, how are you going to plead?
This is a setup.
It's all a setup. Like they make you feel like a criminal. you're like, God damn, like, what did I do? Did I hit somebody or did I just like didn't stop all the way?
Yeah. But yeah, those cameras,
So
I've freaked out a few times because
toxic.
I see it flash and then I'm like, shit, am I going to did I do something wrong? So far, I haven't got anything yet. So I'm like, but sometimes they come later. So I'm like, I hope I didn't.
The ones in Beverly Hills, like, don't do it in Beverly Hills. Stop at the red light. Don't even do a rolling stop.
Don't even, you can if it's yellow. Yeah.
No, like just stop. Even if the light is red, you can make a right on red in LA.
Yeah.
But if you don't stop, even though it's red, most people, like, if there's no cars coming, they just drive. Like, they'll slow down and turn.
The California roll.
You're supposed to stop and then turn. And that's how petty they are.
Oh, man,
so I do not recommend tickets. I do not recommend.
I would say if you get one, I would say always, if you think you have any chance, you can always try to contest because at least it will buy you a little extra time to pay it too. I've tried to do that. I've never won. I've always ended up having to pay it, but it gives you a little extra time without the fee. But you have to write back to them in like 30 days or something. Yeah. And I've had friends win, so I guess it's possible. I just don't make a good case, I guess. But
I've never won a ticket. I always went to court and they were like, yeah, we're going to dismiss it. But you're still paying $300 in court fines. So it really wasn't dismissed.
I've had police like straight up lie because they don't remember. They'll just pretend because I did go to court once and I took pictures and everything. And I was like, it's going to be great.
They have a photo.
And then he just made up stuff. But the judge went with him because they just know. They know them.
They don't care. Yeah, I got pulled over by the police also. And they were so nice about giving this ticket. Like, yes, it's okay. We just have to write you this ticket. And I know you're pissed, but we're going to give you this ticket. Don't worry about it. You didn't stop at the stop sign. I'm like, sir. So.
All right. What else?
Yeah.
This is good. What about like renting? We should talk a little bit about
renting,
finding an apartment.
You must have a job because roommates.
Oh yeah, because verification too. They have to
verification. You must have a job.
That's the thing I used to always get the most insecure. What's that?
Yeah, I said because roommates are tricky, so you must have a job.
Oh. Even if you have roommates, like I found that looking for new apartments, it used to give me so much anxiety because I couldn't verify. I didn't have. It's easy if you have a 9-to-5, you could just show 3 months of pay stubs.
Yeah.
If you don't, you have to prove like your whole last 3 years worth is like, or it depends on the person, but a lot of landlords, they don't trust you. And they're like, let me see like your last 3 years of tax returns. But then I'm like, if it wasn't steady, like when I came back from Taiwan, like in Taiwan, the cost of living is so much lower. I was making much less because my rent was like $160. You know, it's just a different food is like $2. So I had a hard time explaining that. It was hard to find a place. I only ended up finding a place after I ended up taking a 9-to-5 just so I could have one to apply for an apartment.
Do what you got to do. In LA, you do what you have to do to survive, even if it requires you to get a 9-to-5 while you are working in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I
would say though, no, for sure. That's real. Like the 9-to-5. I would like, definitely. I feel like there's so much stigma around, especially for creatives. Like, I'm above a 9-to-5. Like nobody's above. I don't think there's anything wrong, but I would say be careful not to fall into the trap of the routine, right? Because it's easy, especially if it's comfortable.
Easy money.
Yeah, and if it's comfortable and there's benefits, it's easy to be like, well, why not? It's a little bit of a trap, I think. Everyone's different. Like, well, it depends on your personality because I'm not very. I can't focus on more than one thing at a time. So if I have a 9-to-5, I have a very hard time doing something else after work.
Yeah.
You know? Some people are really good about that.
It's mental fatigue.
Yeah. It depends what 9-to-5, right? Different jobs are different. Like,
it's the mental fatigue because you can work a 9-to-5. It's doable. If it's in the field that you can go through it. But at the end of the day, if you're mentally fatigued from that job, your next shift is the shift for yourself and for your future. It's like you're not going to have the energy to do it between that and LA traffic.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, the traffic. Because that was the thing. It was like, okay, technically 9-to-5 is only 8 hours a day. You have another 8 hours, but you spend like 3 hours driving. Then when you get home, you're already tired. It's dark.
You're tired. You just want to eat.
You go to the gym. Like I remember when I was doing the 9 to 5. Yeah, it was like I wanted to go to the gym, so I would do that, and then I guess it's priorities. I probably wasn't prioritizing music at the time because I was kind of a little bit in survival mode, but I found that I was just too tired after work and the gym, and I made dinner. It was like I have to go to bed.
Yeah,
that's where I was at. But I think alternative. So I think 9 to 5 is useful as a stepping stone. Well, and I don't want to shit on 9 to 5s because some people that is a very good solution for your life. Like if that's what, and you can do that and still have an online business. It depends what you want, but
you just have to build it on the weekends.
You have to, yeah. And then I think though, another good alternative is starting your own business, which that's eventually what I ended up doing because it gave me more freedom. It comes with a lot more uncertainty though. So the beginning is a little tougher, but yeah, you have to really trust yourself, which it took me a while to figure. I'm still, I go through days where I'm like, yeah.
I mean, that's just the nature of it. Anything that's entrepreneurial, there's going to be booming days. It's going to be like, yes, like I do this for the rest of my life. And then next thing you know, it's just going to be flatline.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I wish people, oh, sorry. Was it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I knew this is like, if you're in a business that has a lot of that, like ups and downs, that when it's a boom, not to spend it as if every day is like that. Cause it's supposed to even out. Like that's supposed to carry, especially with seasonal work, like DJing. My first year of DJing, I didn't know that. So the summer was great. And I spent it all. And then after January came, there were no more calls. January. And I was like, shit.
You gotta get a job.
Yeah. And now I know, okay, there's seasons. There's like wedding season, then there's the holidays, and then there's a bit of a lull. So like you just have to spread out the booming
and
time.
Plan. Yeah. So yeah, and it's just all about planning, and it's all about networking. Your network is directly correlated to your net worth.
Ooh.
So
gem dropping.
Yes. And I found that to be true. It may not have necessarily been like, oh, I have rich friends and now I'm making $1 million. That's not true, but it can be like I'm in the entertainment industry, and the friends that I've met have accounts with like these multi-billion-dollar companies. And, however you figure out the way that you want to position yourself, you can, navigate those relationships to, make something work. And you never know. And it could be even as simple as, like, hey, I'm a DJ and, things are slow right now. And like, I don't know, like I spend all my money. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay my rent. And then you have your rich friends, that have a home. Like, so it works out like that, So, but I would say like, you definitely do not want to use people, like genuinely build healthy relationships with people. Yeah. And that will take you way further than you would have ever expected you could have gone, So
yeah, no man is an island, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We all need a network of like a tribe. There's that saying, like you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
And so it's like, I think, the network is important. Like who are you surrounding yourself with?
Who's influencing you?
Yeah.
Because I learned that lesson too.
Same. Yeah. Because
Yeah, I learned a lesson with people who I thought were my friends. And then when you think about it, it's like, well, what was I doing when we were like really close? What were they having me getting into? And then you look at it, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You think about it,
What's like, do you have like a specific story?
And not specifically right now, but you just know. It's just,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like you could have definitely went down a rabbit hole into an abyss of things that do not align with your morals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And even the entertainment we consume, I didn't used to realize this, but I started noticing like if you're watching certain shows, it's almost, it's like it's influencing you, right? Because you're seeing it, it's in your like zeitgeist. Like I found like I was watching a lot of these like trashy reality dramas on VH1 for a bit, because sometimes like, they used to be my guilty pleasure.
Entertaining.
Yeah, they used to be, yeah, for sure. A lot of those VH1 shows were like my guilty pleasure for sure. But that was before I started realizing how it was impacting me, because and I think you can indulge every now and then in things as long as you're conscious. But I realized that because most of it they're fighting a lot, right? Especially like when there's a lot of drama and like just very catty. I found myself like just in that kind of irritated state of mind afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And even like some of the drama they had, I remember there was like one thing on Love and Hip Hop, one of the earlier, it was like the LA one where somebody had a sex tape. I don't know if you ever watched Love and Hip Hop.
Oh yeah, that was Mimi.
Do you remember that? Yeah. So they had an episode like that, and it was close to home because it was like in LA. It was like in North Hollywood, or it was like in the area. All the places
we lived in the valley.
They're like the places that we went to, you know, all the studios they were like filming at, and the restaurants they would gather and talk shit about each other with.
Yeah.
Like, they were like places we go. So I remember that time when that I was watching that, and I was like, it just made me so nervous. Like, what if somebody tries to do revenge porn on me? Like, it started feeling like too close to home that I was like, oh shit, I don't want to watch this because I don't want to manifest any of this into my life.
When you're a spiritual person and you realize everything that you are exposed to comes into your magnetic field, and you can manifest that.
I was like, no more of this show.
No, I'm so mindful these days of the things that I think. I don't want to bring that kind of, you know, I just love and stuff, but I definitely understand that though. Yeah.
What else do we want to share with the people? Let me look at
revenge porn. I would just say, just don't make it.
Yeah. You know, I think that's, I was thinking about that recently because I was like, I wonder if it is coming like with age, not age as in like old, but just like with the wisdom of experience. Because like obviously that stuff is fun, you know, and it's part of the fun of it is the titillation of like, it could be like, no one wants it to get discovered, but part of the fun is like something taboo, right? Like that's why people do things like that. Yeah. But
taboo
as I get older, I feel less of a desire to do that. But I wonder if it's because I've been there, done that. I don't know. Maybe people need, I mean, who hasn't nowadays, you know, not revenge porn, but
listen,
like
I do not have a sex tape, but you know,
not even like one that was deleted back in the day or something.
Well, no, I actually
never made one.
I've never intentionally made a sex tape. I'm not opposed to making a sex tape with the man that I love, you know, that I completely trust, but he cannot have his hands on the camera. You can look, but you can't touch.
Because it's different nowadays. It's not, everything's so easy to be transmitted. You never, it's not even there. Like, I don't even think it's trusting the man. It's just like, I don't trust technology. Like if a man, like he had it on his phone, even if he was trustworthy, like someone could get into his phone.
Exactly. Do you see the way people are getting hacked on Instagram and stuff?
So easy. Like, it's not even
so easy to get hacked. Like, I just don't think it's smart to make sex tapes on an iPhone.
Yeah, I don't think phones, it's got to be like old school, like an analog camcorder, like American Beauty where he's
camera, that's what you do. And listen, guys, like
lock it up.
We do not recommend, okay? But if you were to do it, be smart about it.
Pamela Anderson, theirs was like a VHS. They still got, you know.
I mean, that thing. Are you kidding me?
Well, I think they do that after the fact, you know, try to get something out of it, right? But that it's different now with technology.
Yeah, but
it's hard not to. I feel like people, especially like I feel like the younger generation, like they're so used to everything being documented.
Yes,
I think that it's a Wild West.
It is the wild, wild west, and it's scary out here. But I I've never done a intentional sex tape, but I did have, like, when I was younger, like a guy like film on his phone, and I didn't know about it, but he showed me, and that scared the hell out of me.
So that's like non-consensual. I've had that happen to me before too. I didn't understand that. We weren't taught about consent.
Yeah, back then.
I felt uncomfortable, but I didn't know. I was like, oh, I guess there's nothing I can do. Yeah. But now I'm like, yes, there is something you could do. You could tell them to delete it.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could do it.
Yeah.
Oh, then you were smart. I think I took a long time to find my voice about how to speak up for myself. Yeah. Like, I feel like there are a lot of things people did when I was younger that I was like not comfortable with, but I didn't know how to, I'm like, well, I don't know what to, okay. I had to learn that, but
it's life. Things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy now we have a platform where we can discuss these things.
Yeah.
And it not be taboo.
Yeah. And nothing's off limits here.
Nothing's off limits. And we're able to help someone else navigate, something of that nature if it happened. And, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That guy was an ass.
I mean, I can imagine. Yeah, you should never film someone without their. That's just
no. He showed me he didn't have to, but what I don't know is if he sent it to anyone. Right. I made him delete it, but
you never know if someone, because they could have another copy. It's hard. Yeah, you gotta trust.
You just gotta trust. Like, I mean, thank God nothing has like come up or anything like that, but you just never know. Like.
I've had nightmares about that. I don't have anything that's bad, but just like stuff that's intimate. If it's with somebody that you were with in the past and then you're not with them anymore, I like to trust that they are of good moral character, but you just never know.
There's no one more salty than a guy that liked you and you have to break up with them.
You really think people would do that?
Yes.
Immature.
It's very immature, especially men, because men do not know how to handle rejection.
Yeah, even that's like their way of humiliating you because they feel
exactly. So any man that tries to destroy you after a breakup is a weak person, but it's still happening. And I think it's because
I never get into one of those relationships.
I mean, you don't know until you're in it. You don't know
until and then it's too late because.
And then it's
if you break up with them, there you ignite their wrath.
Yeah, I've had a guy.
Don't let me fall for someone like that. They're charming though. People like that, I feel like they charm you first, right? Yeah,
of course they're always charming. At first,
I know the type. Yeah.
So
well, I think this is a good point to end this episode because next week we're actually going to go much deeper into stuff like this. So this is a really great segue, I think.
Okay.
Do you have any other thoughts about LA or just in general, our first episode?
No, I think we shared enough information. Yeah. Until next time, hustle, stay committed to your goals. Hustle and flow.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Bye.
That is it. Goodbye.